Welcome everybody. Today's video finds us over here in the dawn of happiness, I think is how it's translated. We're at Sukhothai. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and what it's famous for is it was considered the first capital of Thailand, or Siam. This was an area that used to be under the Khmer control. It was a frontier outpost, and they declared their independence, I believe, in 1238. And then this was the first capital, and it was later absorbed into the kingdom of Ayutthaya. Anyway, we're going to walk through the historical park, and we're going to go check out some of these cool ruins. So let's go and see what we see today. We're going to walk through here. This was kind of the center of the walled part of the city. There was quite a few temples and stuff outside of the wall, and you can go through some of those also. And we'll go over here, we'll grab our tickets and we'll go in. This is the ticket booth here. So you go right in here. You can see it's 100 baht per person, or 10 baht for a bike, and it's 20 baht for a Thai. So the dual pricing is here. And then you can rent a little tram also. Looks like for 60 baht if you want to get on the little tram. We'll just walk through though. It's not too big of a site. And then they have like these little electric carts and different stuff that you can get around inside of the park. What's cool is you can stay right over here, and it's a short walk into the park. And then right over here is the Ramkhamhaeng National Museum. And I think it's 50 baht to go inside of there. And then they have the electric cars you can rent, the 2-seat for 100 baht, 6-seat for 300 baht for an hour. And you check your tickets, and then we can go right on inside. Now there's a bunch of different ruins in here from different eras. The biggest one is Wat Mahathat. That's the most important. And you have some other small little ruins over here. We have one that's a Khmer prong. This temple here is Wat Mai. You can see it's just basically the base with some of the columns, and you can walk up there and we'll look at these. This is the first one when you first come in to the right. You can see that it's just the pedestal here, has a few of the laterite stones over there, and then some of the bases for like chedis and stuff like that, and a little bit of the plaster. And this would have been like the outer walkway. You can see the use of the brick and then those laterite stones. And there's not much left of this one here. It's just a small little ruin at the park entrance. And there would have been a Buddha here. This would have been a small little room, which is kind of cool. And then the columns, you see they carved those laterite stones to where they're round. And then you can see where they've used the plaster to join them and make the whole column, and then they put the plaster on top of it. This would have been a really good sized hall, and there would have been the Buddha images up there, and then another little platform right here. That's kind of cool. They carved that and made it like round at the top, and then you can see some more of the bases and stuff like that out here in the trees. And then right over that way is where the moat and the wall was. Yeah, this was a pretty large ruin. Now there's not a whole lot to see. There's much better ruins than this one, but this is the first one that you see when you come in. And it's worth popping over here to take a look at. You can see what they would have had there. This would have been like a rail across the top there. And they'd have had some styling and stuff in it. What I like to do is I like to get over here to this park first thing in the morning, and you can see the little water lilies in bloomed out. These all have some nice pink flowers here. Yeah, it's quite nice. And then we'll go up over here and see some of these. The big highlight is Wat Mahathat. Over there, that is a little monument to King Ramkhamhaeng. He's the Sukhothai king that's credited for expanding the kingdom, as well as inventing the modern Thai script. And then you can see all these little water lilies right here in front of this. What a great scene. You have that bell-shaped chedi right back there, and the halls. Yeah, it's really nice here first thing in the morning. Okay, this right here, this is Wat Mahathat, which is the temple of the relic, I believe. This is the highlight of the park right here. It's the best preserved ruin, plus it's got the most to see. You can see the examples of the Sukhothai architecture. And it was right over here by this small little ruin. And the royal palace and everything was here also. This is the Nom Prasat. And this is where, whenever they came over here and were doing some excavations, they found a stone inscription King Rama IV's party did. And it gave them the story of Sukhothai. And then they believe that was the base of the royal palace over there. And then this is Wat Mahathat. So they would have been able to walk from the royal residence right into the temple. So inside Wat Mahathat, there's, I think, 200 chedis in here. And what's cool is the Sukhothai, they were Khmer, and then when they declared their independence, they were their own kingdom up here for about 150 years or so, from 1238 up until like 1370-ish or so. That's when Ayutthaya, who was gaining prominence down south, they were founded down there in 1350. They were growing and they came up here and they consolidated the Sukhothai kingdom into theirs. Now, I'm not sure if they did it by force or if it was a mutual agreement or what, but what they did is they took the people from here and they relocated them down to Ayutthaya. But in the time that this was the kingdom, they sent emissaries up to China, and then they also had some trade with India and into Burma, and they developed their own art style. They took influences from the Lana kingdom to the north. They used, the Mon styling. They also have some Chinese influence as well as the Khmer architecture. And then they made their own. And you'll see that in the spires and in the Buddha images that you see. It looks like they've closed this down. You used to be able to climb up onto here. I think it was dangerous. People were falling off. So it looks like they don't allow anybody up here on this staircase anymore. This is what's up here though. You can see the hall with the columns and then the Buddha image that's sitting right there. And the laterite stones that they used with the mortar. And then you can see some of the different styling here. That one's kind of more of a bell-shaped chedi with a round base. This one here has the indented corners. That's more of the Mon styling. And then they have some Buddhas all in these little alcoves. And it's fantastic to just walk through here and see everything. You can spend as much time as you want. Usually I figure about half a day here in the Sukhothai Park. Depends on how much time you want to spend and how much little details and stuff you want to look at. If you just want to come in for some quick photos and stuff like that, you could spend just about 2 hours or so. Yeah, this was a gigantic hall here. You can see the base of these columns, just how big they are. And they had 2 rows of supports on each side, and then the outer wall also had some columns over there to support it. And then you can see the center prong, the styling, that long, sleek spire. And then it has a Khmer prong right in front of it with some images carved down on the bottom of it. And then they had outer buildings and then some of the minor chedis and everything. This site here is just magnificent. But the highlight is definitely the center spire. You can see the pedestals here for the Buddhas, and then these gigantic columns. And I'm not sure what they did at the top, if they put lotus flowers up there or what they did at the modern temples they do. So here you can see the Khmer influence here. And then they've added these little walking figures down here. And then they've put these extra little chedis to the side. And they have the stairs, but they don't allow people to go up there. It's blocked off. But you can see the stairs go all the way up there to the base of that center chedi. And then they have the little alcoves up there by that spire where they would have had little images in it also. Yeah, but how cool is this? So all that detail work here in the plaster. and then the Khmer prong. So you see they would have had a standing image right there, and then the Naga and all of that beside it. And then they have some other little prongs over there that are Khmer. So you can just see the whole chedi field out here. There's tons of them. Let's look in this. It's kind of cool because they have this little tiny shrine here with a nice little Buddha that's kind of sticking up out of the top. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, the little shrine. So you see the eyes are closed, and then is meditating. And then they had the little three-cornered shrine. The Sukhothai art, they used the three corners, and they used three pedestals also. So if something was built on a chedi, it would have three tiers, and that was to symbolize the three realms. And then you can see this big chedi here. And you see all these smaller little chedis and stuff. Now I believe that the first Sukhothai king, King Latai, I believe he's buried, his ashes are in this temple. And then we could see this one over here. They did the little elephants and other figures across the bottom here. They're in pretty bad shape, but you can just make them out, which is quite spectacular. And then this small little hall there, and then this chedi here. And you could have climbed up it at one time also, but it's closed off. And they have a large seated Buddha right here. And then this chedi here had all those little alcoves for all the images in them also. But check this out. Those are the elephants right there. So you see you had the little figure, one on the other one's shoulder. And then you had the elephants, and the tusks are broken off and stuff. It's really, really cool. Yeah, so you can see how this was constructed. And this would have been probably covered right here. You can see a little bit of the walls. And then the Buddha with the eyes closed. There's only one Buddha image in Sukhothai that the eyes are open, and that's at another temple, Wat Si Sawai, that's outside of the park. And I've been to that several times. I really, really like that place. It's just an amazing, it's a small temple, but it's really amazing. So they did the floral patterns also around the elephants. And you can see right here, these are some excellent little figures. Oh, that is unbelievable. And then this is right here next to another little seated Buddha. This is on the west side. And then we have some other little chedis and just all kinds of stuff to see here. So you can see the prong, and then the Khmer prong here. And then this little building here is really, really cool. So this kind of looks like the Wat Si Sawai on the outside, the same kind of styling. But on the inside, this is what's really cool about it, is you have this right here. Oh, that is unbelievable. This humongous standing Buddha. And I think it's like the dispelling fear pose. The Sukhothai era, they really like to do standing Buddhas. And then this is the center prong here. And then we got this little dog trucking around. So this temple itself was just so packed. There was so many buildings, and it would have been roofs and chedis and everything here. Like this would have been a covered building, and it would have just been so crowded. I think this would have been covered also. I'm not sure how they would have done it, probably out of wood. And then there would have been just little walkways between the buildings. There would have been so much to see. Oh, it's fantastic. So I see how this is. So there are the 4 Khmer prongs, and they would have had the center one that would have been Mount Meru. And then the moat surrounding it would have been the Sea of Milk. So that would have been the Khmer influence whenever this was first built, and then they've added to it. And then we have another little building over there. So this is the 4th little Khmer tower here. So there wasn't the 3 in a line. Like there would have been a lot of times 1, 2, 3 Khmer prongs. There's just the 4, and then they've added these little satellite chedis around. And then you can see the center one has been completely redone. And these look like they're the original red coloring. And then they have the laterite stones here, so that would have all been a little covered walkway. And then more chedis back here with another Sukhothai style prong back there. You could see the laterite stones, how they carved it, and they would have had images in those little knocks. And that little pediment right there would have had an image in it. And those would have been naga on the corners, and they were completely weathered away. And the same over there with that little prong. And let's look at this one, and then we'll walk over to the Si Sawai, which is another great little temple in here. So they have restored this, so you can see the image there, the walking Buddha, and this one here with the hand raised, the dispelling fear. And then they had the little Buddha imagery up there, all the naga, all the little carvings, and the same there in that satellite chedi. And then on the other side is another one of these gigantic standing Buddhas. So we have this chedi here. You can see the naga and all that stuff. And then this one right here. So his hands are down. And then you can see how that is. It's just unbelievable. Over here, more chedis. Another little water feature. And this would have been an ordination hall. And you can see the seated Buddha. And then these sandstone Buddha Sima stones that are out here. And they did the double row. In modern Thai temples, those show that it's a royal temple. But you see with like some of these older ones, they just did 2 rows. And then you see that in places like Cambodia also, they do a double row. But they do it inside of the temple. So this would have been, like the Buddha Simas would have been inside of here. And then this, just a Buddha sitting here. And you can just see out into more of the park here. Now Sukhothai doesn't get very crowded. There's just not as many people that come up here. And it's fantastic. Most people go to Ayutthaya, but they never make it up to here. So when you're here, you don't have the crowds that you would have at the more popular places. But how cool is this? Just the number of buildings is astonishing. And the difference in the styling, you see a bunch of different styles that you normally don't see. Okay, so let's go over to the Wat Si Sawai now. So you can see the columns, those little notches right there would have been cross beams. Now it's a perfect resting place for all these pigeons. They found a home. Oh, this is nice. So you have a group of Thai tourists that are here. All the ladies are dressed up in the Thai clothes, so it'll be photo central. You can see the park just has all these little moats and ponds and stuff all around and all the trees. And it's a nice little walk. It's not hot today, which is nice. Some days you're out here, it's really scorching hot, but today is only like 31, 32 degrees or so. And it's been really, really rainy. And you just can walk, or you can pedal around, or rent these golf carts and go also. Yeah, you can see all the trees and stuff like that. Some of these are pretty interesting with all the roots and the vines and stuff that grow up on them. So Wat Si Sawai is over here about 300 meters. And it's a small temple. The Wat Mahathat is definitely the biggest one. And then there's a couple smaller little chedis and stuff out in the trees. But they haven't restored the whole place like all those little tiny ones. They've just done the bases and stuff. So here we are over here at Si Sawai. This is a really cool temple. So it has the 3 prongs. And what the sign says is it says it's the Lopburi style, which means the Khmer style. The Khmer were, at the time when these were built, the Khmer were incorporated Lopburi into their kingdom. Pimai, Lopburi, all of that, all the way up to here. This was one of their frontier towns. And they went all the way over to Kanchanaburi. You go to Wat Singh in Kanchanaburi. You can see they have a temple over there that has one of the faces of Jiriman VII in it. And then this was a little hall here, and we go through this wall. And this was, I think, had like a Shiva that they found in here, and then they have Vishnu on one of the pediments. So what's cool is they have this hall right in front of it that has those little slit windows, and you can see the laterite stones that they used. And then up there they have all the images. So this was originally a Hindu temple, and then they've converted it into Buddhism. And you can go down in here. It may be filled with water since we've been getting so much rain. No, it looks like it's dry. So there would have been a lintel here and it's all gone. And then you can go down in here and this is where the image would have been. So I believe Rama VI came here when he was the crown prince and they found a Shiva image. Now there's just pigeons and stuff in here. And then over here, this is the right prong. And you can see the plaster work they did here, and they had a small little building. And the same out here. So this would have been the base of one of those Shiva lingas. And then it's quite cool. They've restored this with the plaster work out here. And then you can see the imagery all up there. Yeah, this is a beautiful little temple. And this is the third little prong over here. You can see the outer wall. And then there was more buildings outside of there. And you, again, could have went inside. And just a little bit more. They got some tree branches and stuff growing up there. Okay, let's continue on our little loop here. You see them on the bikes and the little golf carts. So it is somewhat handicap accessible. You can't really climb up on the ruins and stuff, but you can at least get around to see everything if you're not able to walk this far. Over there on the other side of the road, you can see that was the former wall of the city. Now, Sukhothai was kind of the center, and they kind of stretched over to Kamphaeng Phet. That was their fortress town on the west, and then Sinhalese was to the north, and that protected them from invasions from the north, from the Lana Kingdom and the Harana Japa. I can't remember how it's said, but that was they were in the north, and then they went over towards Pisonaluk, and that was kind of their east, and then they kind of stretched all around in the area, but that was their primary core of the kingdom. You can see another little base of a temple over there. Looks like they've been cutting the trees down. Always something to do in places like this. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so they do have extra money to take care of the grounds. You can see more of the little bases and stuff out here in the trees. Now they're just minor ruins now, but at one time, you know, they were important. You know, the people came out here and hauled in stones to build them, and there would have been wooden buildings all around. And now they're just kind of down to the base and kind of forgotten about in history. And this is right in the center. This is pretty cool. So this is the old lake that they had, and then this temple right over here. We'll take a look at it and we'll walk around over there and see one more after this one. This is Wat Phang Nguyen. You can see it would have had a small little building here, has a standing Buddha image over there, and then it would have had a cool Sukhothai style chedi in the back. So you can see how this hall would have been constructed with the laterite stones and everything. And then the chedi is definitely an example of the Sukhothai art. So it has 3 levels to the base: heaven, hell, and the earthly realm. And then it goes up to the spire. And it's that long, elegant spire. It has the Buddha images up there. And then you have a seated Buddha here. And then a couple more smaller little buildings over here. Yeah, really nice little standing Buddha. And this would have been a little chedi with the images and stuff. And then some more chedis and stuff back there. Okay, so we're almost through the park here. The big ruins anyway. We'll go look at one more. Hopefully we can beat the rain. So you see you got some bases of some chedis over there. You have all these ponds and moats, and if you could imagine, there would have been wooden houses all in here and people growing rice and everything else, and then they'd have had these temples all scattered out about, and then there would have been more of the city outside of the wall, and this would have been a flourishing place. And then it was after Ayutthaya absorbed them, this place was abandoned. And they came and they settled the new town of Sukhothai, but that's a few kilometers away from here. I think about 15 or so away from here. While Si Sawai stayed active, and it was eventually captured by the Lana, and then Ayutthaya came and fought and took it back over. and it was still an important trading center into the like 15th, 16th century, I think, and they made pottery and stuff like that up there. All right, so here we are over at Wat Si. You got to cross a bridge to get over to this one, and then they have another little bridge over there. Now, there used to be a road that went right down here through the middle of this temple, and they moved the road in 1978 to over there outside of the park boundary. But imagine having a road right through the middle of this historical park. So this is what it looks like. We got these bell-shaped chedis here. We had the Wehan, and then the ordination hall over there. And you can see this is a new image here. Still quite cool. Now, I don't know what year they started doing the traditions of having the separate Wehans and the separate ordination halls. I don't know if that was brought in from outside of Sukhothai and it became tradition here in Thailand also. Because some of these you see just one like prayer hall, while others you'll see the separate buildings. And you can see the tops of the columns here. A little bit of the plaster work is still on them. And this building here looks like it's kind of set up the same as that first one we looked at. It has the little place up front, would have had an image, and then the columns. And then you can see that they made them into like octagon shapes. They used that plaster. So they did the round laterite stones, and then they did plaster work to give it the design. And then the spire, and goes up to the finale up there. And then the seated Buddha. That's quite cool. And then you can see you would have walked across the moat over there to that other little building. Yeah, and this will be the last thing we look at. Oh, what a fantastic area. Yeah, over there is what I said is the new road. It's outside of the park. And then this small little tiny ordination hall. You can see the Buasima stones. There's only one row here, while at Wat Mahathat they had 2 rows. And there's all kinds of those white birds up here in this tree. You can hear them going crazy. And they're up in this one here also. So there is a double Buasima up here in the front. Now this one here is just the base. There's not a whole lot to see. But it was actually like a square shaped, which is quite a bit different. Kind of interesting. And that was just right here by this little pond. All right, guys, that was a fun little walk here through the Sukhothai Historical Park. This is a fantastic part of Thailand. And if you ever get a chance, come up here. I would highly recommend it. Ayutthaya is fantastic. I've been there hundreds of times. And I've been up here to Sukhothai a lot also. And I brought my mom, and I would definitely recommend, if I wanted to bring my mom, I would say you should come up here and check it out also. It is a really nice piece of history, and it's a half day worth your time to walk through this historical park and then spend some more time going to some of the smaller chedis and temples and stuff like that around the area. You will enjoy it. It's a little bit more difficult to get up to than Ayutthaya, but worth the effort. It'll be a lot quieter up here. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, stick around, and then you're notified when I post a new video. And leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. If you've been here, if you have any questions, let me know also, and I'll do my best to answer it. But anyway, from over here in Sukhothai, remember, life is a journey. Until next time, enjoy.